Ambivalacious types and champagne sippers, switch off now. Alex Belfield's voice of reason.
Howdy Chunky, my name's Alex Belfield. This is July 2nd and the news. On Monday morning I will be back at 6 a.m. doing 30 minutes of my stories the way I want to say them. Unfortunately here you get the sanitized version because we are being edited as we speak and the dark forces are doing whatever they can to try and destroy me. I sit all day and make my notes and collect my screen grabs to bring you the things I think are most important. And what we will do from Monday at 6 a.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. That's 6 days. Nothing gets past me. I will do my best to slap it on the table and tell you what the rest don't really want to talk about. And certainly I will explain it in a way that edifies me, opposed to playing to the crowd of the mainstream media who all seem to be in cahoots and don't seem to want to tell us the truth about anything. By the way, tomorrow evening you will get to see my mother and father. My mum and dad came round for tea and I have made a little video because I think it's time to open myself up wide. I got the tip from our Prime Minister, Keir Kars, and he seems a bit distracted at the moment. I don't know why he's not more open and out in the public, chit-chatting, gob-shiting, and telling us what we need to know about this godforsaken country. It used to be Great Britain with G-R-E-A-T, now it seems to be G-R-A-T-E. I don't like the word great since the Great Reset, because since COVID, it's like we're all walking around like imbeciles. The young people stare at their tippy-tappies and look down, don't even know where they're going, and say like and yes, absolutely, and things like obviously in every other word, even though it's not obvious, actual, or indeed I don't like them. I don't know why our young people are incapable of linking a sentence, but it appears the retardation of our nation is at an all-time high. Along with the figures, of course, from the dinghy divers, who are now 170,000 deep since this shitstorm started. I say we turn Isle of Wight into the new Alcatraz. We shut the 3 pedo prisons on there. Yes, there are 3 paedophile prisons on Isle of Wight. And we send them to Rwanda or Dignitas, somewhere like that. And then what we do is put all the dinghy divers on there and make sure that they're living in squalid conditions on the very basics. What we don't want to do is make it attractive for people to come to this once great country and be given phones and food and vouchers for lovely clothes so that it's attractive for people to come here. We need to make it unattractive. That's why Donald Trump has done so well in America, kicking out all of the illegals. Now, of course, the far left radicals will say, this is outrageous. You need a big heart and sympathy. Yes, we do. But we also need a bigger island and a lot of money to take care of these people if we're going to have open borders. The Great Reset was the thing that I talked a lot about, that I think led to a lot of my trouble, especially in going to prison, that I undermined an entire system. Under Boris Johnson's watch, I was the man that was saying I did not believe those stupid masks work because there was holes here and there. I looked at the data from ONS and told you over and over again, repeatedly, until I was blue in the face, that the average age of death of COVID was 82.5, which still hasn't changed since day one. These are the kind of things I talk about at alexbelfield.com in the morning at 6, but I can go into much greater detail and be more free with my words, where journalists aren't transcribing everything to send to YouTube to beg them to cut us off, which is what's happening this second. By the way, if you want to find out about my career, my autobiography is out now and people are enjoying it. They're amazed how candid I am about my stories from the age of 16 in show business, when I started fingering my organ and went to Radio Nottingham and Century and Mansfield 103.2. I then went to Africa to do the breakfast show on Capital FM. It's all in here. I talk about my family, my friends, my love, my passions, and why this is the most disgusting business in the world. Show business. It's horrible, but it's not as horrible as politics, because at least in show business, they'll stab you in the front. Our political situation now has never been more dire. It's never been more concerning to me. And I've never needed to speak out more about how they are looking you in the eye and lying to you. But I'll talk to you more about that on Monday morning at 6 o'clock. There are so many things I want to say to you. I want to tell you about the mistakes of the jabs and the COVID cult that people fell for, and then want to call me a cult at the voice of reason, as they did in court, saying he has too much influence. Maybe I have too much truth. Maybe what I was saying was too near to the bone. Do you remember when I told you that the man who fell off the ladder, who was window cleaning, was put down as died of COVID? And I said that's horseshit. They didn't like it because the BBC at this point was still confusing died of and died with. And that managed to inflate the figures of deaths to scare you and your granny and your auntie Fanny to the point where nobody could work out who was dying, who was dead, who was alive, and who was safe. And the reality was most of us were safe. If you weren't ill or old, you were safe. Not my opinion, the facts that have since come out since the cult. I don't know what's going on with our politicians. I don't see Angelica Growler around very much these days. Ed Miliband's busy flying around the world to tell us to turn our electric off and save the planet, whilst costing us billions for net zero, which is horseshit. Keir Kars, I don't know what he's doing, but he seems to be stopping the nation more than he's stopping other things. Jess Conrad, not going very well for Jess Conrad. The grooming situation seems to be dire, and the rape gangs seem to be getting bigger, not smaller. Bit like the dinghy divers coming over. It seems all the things they've told us they're going to get rid of seem to be increasing. It's not very good, is it, where we've got a situation where we can't trust anyone. We can't trust those leading us, and we can't trust those living next door to us if they're in a council house, because they may have come from abroad illegally or indeed be running a child rape gang, which we don't want to talk about because it's awkward. It's an awkward truth. And look how the lefties have now fucked right off, cleared off, gone away, shushy, shushy. They don't like it. Why? Because we finally know that there are rape gangs, grooming gangs. We know that Tommy was right.
I think Tommy Robinson deserves an apology from some quarters too.
Anyone who's been murdered by a Muslim gang, you probably don't, I do. Do you know any 15-year-old girls that you know that you've grown up with that have been raped or pimped? You don't. So I don't expect you to understand the issues.
These are all personal issues of you.
At least 1,400 young white girls were raped and groomed by young Pakistani men, mostly in these grooming gangs. Who is to blame? The men themselves or the authorities, the police? That's embarrassing, isn't it? Who knew that a YouTuber could end up being vindicated? Who knew that a man who had somehow managed to work out what was going on would go to prison and then come out and people would say, make him a dame, give him the knighthood. This man was indeed a prophet. I don't know what's going on, but I will talk about all this. I am loving being back, by the way, and I can't thank you enough to be given a chance by you. I couldn't give two fucks what my enemies think, what my naysayers believe. I don't care what those who don't like me want to misconstrue in their own warped minds, those with the boggly eyes who want to pretend that they're my friend, or indeed those who just simply want to make money out of my name. There's a compliment in it somewhere, because it must mean I'm very successful and popular, because you put my name in the title and suddenly you get 1,000 times more clicks than you would get for your tawdry baubles that you put on YouTube when I'm not mentioned. But these are worrying times where we need to have an honest conversation. There's two Lucys in prison, and I wonder whether either of them should be there. I also don't like the fact that I'm seeing the media deciding who comes out and who doesn't, and when they come out. You know damn well, if I'd have been on that disgusting Blunkett IPP sentence, that's the thing where they don't tell you when you're getting out. People who got 18 months in prison 20 years later. In this country, there's 2,000 of them. I need to talk about this at alexbelfield.com. It's outrageous. 80 men have killed themselves who got IPP. David Blunkett's, let's shove them in prison and we won't tell them when they leave. Hundreds of them sectioned under the Mental Health Act. In prisons today, in this country, who got 6 months, 9 months, 10 months, whatever it was for some nonsense, and are still in prison longer than lifers. Nobody wants to talk about that. I've got so much to say, I don't know where to start. Tonight at 9 o'clock, I will do a live where I want to thank everybody, but I can't do the phone in for reasons I'll explain tonight. And then tomorrow you'll meet me mum and dad. That'll be lovely. Notting Hill. We don't want to talk about that because it involves people of colour, but it also involved 349 arrests, 8 stabbings, 72 knives, and emergency workers being beat up, and they want to do this again this year. In no other community would this be allowed.
I think it was 8 people that were stabbed, and yes, that is terrible. We don't want no deaths. And there were 2 people that died. So I appreciate why you're saying what you're saying in terms of there is clearly an issue in terms of violence and stabbings and whatnot.
Even the Pride people wouldn't get away with it. Oh, by the way, one of their founders has just gone to jail for being a paedophile. Better not talk about that here. It might hurt the feelings. Let's see how Pride's going. Show the video, Tarquin. Yes, that sums it up, doesn't it? That's what's going on. We're so busy falling off LGBTQ plus 69S carts that are driving down roads flying flags, we've lost complete perspective on what matters, which is the protection of children and looking after our silver tops, our senior citizens. And that means you give them heating and food. What you don't do is spend £8 million a day on hotels for dinghy divers at the same time that you allow pensioners to freeze to death, Keir. If things weren't bad enough, loose women's been axed, so I've been told. I can't take any more of this. I'm telling you. Next you're going to say Girls Aloud aren't touring. What are Denise Welsh and Colleen Nolan going to do if ITV's gone bust? Oh, talking of TV, Tim Divy's not having a very good week. What with the Glastonbury shite? Have you ever seen such nonsense? By the way, should this man go to prison? No, he shouldn't go to prison for words. Of course he shouldn't go to prison. But if I went to fucking prison for words for nearly 3 years and Lucy Connolly's in prison for words, yes, he should go to prison. We can't have the double standard just because you're at some lefty place where people shit in a bucket and piss all over a field and shag each other off the tits on ketamine. We can't just make the example that because it's a lefty event, you can say what you like and incite hatred to others. And you could argue incite murder. If I'd have sent that, I'd have got David Blunkett's fucking IPP and been in prison for life. Don't you worry about that. Even Blunkett can see this is complete bullshit. I'm getting too excited. We can only do this at alexbelfield.com. I have so many things every day that I want to talk about. I don't get to half the list. Have I said the word imbecile yet? No, but that sums up most of the people I'm talking about. Oh, Vernon Kay was off Radio 2 yesterday. May we take a moment's silence, please, for a moment's levity. And dear Lord, please make sure that the radio genius and the talent that is Vernon Kay is never off air again. We can't cope without him. He is better, he is more wonderful, more fabulous than Terry Wogan, Sir Ken Bruce and Steve Wright put together. I've never heard a better radio voice in my life. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. And then, of course, we've got the hypocrisy of the rich. Save the planet, save the planet. And there they are, flying around to see each other. On top of many other things. Look, I've talked too much. I'm going to be in big trouble. Get the autobiography at alexbelfield.com. Sign up now. We're back live with the phone-in on Sunday at 9 p.m. where I can do all of this. And you can phone me. And I'm the only one, it appears, who's brave enough to actually take calls. Have you noticed? All those gobshites when I left who said, I'm going to do a phone-in. Not one. Not a single person is brave enough to take a call from you. Well, I do it live. I don't care. You can say what you like. I may not agree with you, but that's old-fashioned fun. Do you remember the good old days when you'd walk in a pub and he'd say that and he'd say that and then they'd have a row and then they'd have a pint together? That was marvellous. We're bringing that back. And a lot of people saying, we can't afford $4.99 a month. Have you seen the price of bread and butter these days? I'm asking you for an amount that is a pint in a pub. And let me break it down for the hard of thinking. $4.99 to me is minus 20% VAT, 20% corporation tax, so now I get 60%. Then take off the credit card fees, it's down to about 50%. So suddenly me £5 a month becomes $2.50 a month. I ain't shafting you. I am not Sakir Cars. I'm doing what I can to entertain you whilst paying my 7 guys who have to keep all of this on air. And they're working tirelessly. And I thank Nick, who is absolutely brilliant, who is building the servers, because we can't just go on a normal server because some twat will pull it down. So we have to have our own servers, not just 1, 2, but 3 servers in 3 different countries. Do you know how much this costs? Do you know how much the books cost? It's cost me about 20 grand so far to write 6 fucking books. I'm not ripping you off. I have to pay my bills, and to do what I'm doing, I have to go to alexbelfield.com. And I'll explain why tonight, but YouTube isn't the place. The Times demonetized me and the witch hunt is still on. So I beg of you, let's have fun behind the paywall where we can say what we like. It's the only phone-in, as far as I'm aware, anywhere in the world, certainly on YouTube and in this country, where you can actually get on unfiltered. You are not speaking to a producer who will decide whether or not you want to go on like the other shitty phone-ins where they sit there looking all morose and pretending to care. No, this is a phone-in where you get straight through. I may not agree with you. I might even cut you off and call you a farthead, but we're going to have a fucking great time, I'll tell you. And yes, there are restrictions. They're going to throw you back in prison. Let them. I'll write another 6 fucking books. I've got a lot of time on my hands. Prison doesn't bother me. If you can survive 2.9 years in prison and walk round like the king because everybody's got your back because you're not an arsehole, don't worry, I'll do another 2.9 years. It says more about this country that they want to put me back in prison than letting me talk to you. I don't care. We're doing brilliant. I've never been more loved and happier. Have you seen the comments? I can't edit these comments. I can't edit them. There's no way I could put on 2,000 compliments on every video. I can't do that. That's you. You will decide. The most amazing thing about my entire witch hunt and the effort that the police, the BBC, the CPS, the judge, the courts, the HMP, MOJ went to shut me the fuck up has failed only because of the public, who will always decide. And as you know from day one, the only people I cared about is you. The punters, the public. I never cared about these people in frocks or suits or have numbers on their lapels that they take off when they bash your back doors in. I've had a lovely time. I do this for about 30 minutes every morning at alexbelfield.com. We do the phone in at Sunday and Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. 90 minutes. People say, why don't you do it every day? Because it's fucking boring if you do it every day. We want to keep each other wanting more. Less is more, just like my cock and balls. We're going to have a hoot, and I can't wait. And these are the sort of things I talk about, but I can go into much greater detail. I can elucidate. That's a nice word, isn't it? Second only to imbecile, which sums up the fucking morons who are walking around with their phones stuck to their noses all day, walking around blindly as if they can't link a sentence because everything has to start with right. I warned you during... Well, I'm off on one. You've got me started. Right, the phone-in will begin Sunday at 9 at alexbelfield.com, tonight at 9 on YouTube. I'm hoping, if we get the tech right, I'll be able to say hello to you, and not a lot more. The book is out, the Autobiography. You can get that, and I appreciate everybody who has bought it. We've got a second order, which we're sending out in the next few days, so be patient if you've ordered that. That will be on its way, and I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've enjoyed myself very much this morning. I shall see you tonight at 9, tomorrow night, my mum and dad. Phone in back Sunday, and I shall see you then. Tra-las, bye-bye.
Justice is the backbone of Great Britain, and it will be served.
Free speech and free speech is very, very fucking shut your gob.
Oh, hello, campers, and welcome to the Hawaiian Ballroom. Here I am with Nostra Aenus reading the future. I see a young man with a micro penis making fun of the Prime Minister. I see him going straight back to prison. Piff, paff, poof. Alex!
I would like to read a statement on behalf of the Toy Potter regarding the release of a young man called Alan Belfield, who was sent to prison for 45 years for downloading images of children. Oh, wait a minute, you don't go to prison for that, especially if you're from the BBC. Anyway, I would like to say how angry I and Jeremy Corbyn is that this has been allowed to happen in our great Britain. I am furious that this injustice is allowed to happen. Tell him we will not have anyone say nasty things about the Tory party, or he will go back to prison immediately to protect public safety. I thank you. Gary, I told you to stick to football. Leave politics out of it. You'll end up in prison or sacked.
Guten Tagen, Honken, Flonken, in the stinken stonken, the plinken plonken. Greta Thunberg, I have been very busy on a dinghy. This, by the way, is a lovely giraffe sent by the people of Wanda. We were going to send the dinghy divers there, but unfortunately, Rishi lost his balls. We didn't send them to Wanda, no, we sent them to 5-star fucking hotels costing British people £8 million a day whilst pensioners starve and freeze this winter. It's going very well. Well done, Rishi. Well done, Kirkov.
Look at the nice lady part here. Stay at home, protect the NHS. Don't go anywhere near Parliament. What happened to my GB News show, by the way? That all went to shit, didn't it? Anyway, I want to wish Belfield all the best. Obviously, it didn't go very well under my leadership. He ended up in prison, but all I'll say is don't fuck with Boris.
You're all right, Sam, yeah. Oh, it's great to see you, to be back. I haven't had anything to say for the last few months. I've been very quiet. What it is, you see, I said that wonderful Labour Party would save the country. Well, there's only one man can do that now. Look at my vodka Knox. Woo, I love a pearl necklace, me. Love a pearl necklace. Ooh, pibit up a bit, Tarquin. He's back, Belfield's back. It's wonderful news. Oh, he's a misogynist. No, he's not. He just likes the vodka Knox.
Now then, young man, you see, I turn the volume up, Tarquin. I work on behalf of the establishment, you'll see, to make sure that the nonsense don't end up on every street corner. I make the streets safe, you see. How's about that then, you see? Bang up the people, turn the fucking thing up, Tarquin. I am responsible for public safety, you see. That's why we need to get people like young Mr. Belfield banged up with a 0.17% risk. How's about that then? Goodness gracious, very naughty young man. See, don't worry about the pedos. Send everybody who is a risk to the public to jail. Those who like to speak words. Very, very naughty people who the establishment say must be banged up and must go down. Goodness gracious.
Box takers, dinghy divers, and lefties. This ain't for you. Alex Belfield's voice of reason.